That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
As promised, here we are with the Dynasty video of the week. I'm going to make sure that we get y'all a Dynasty video every single week, talking about some rookies, talking about some main headlines and what we're going to have with changing Dynasty values. But I know that a lot of people want to say don't overreact to week one for 2021 redraft leagues, and I think that we actually have to pay some attention to it. But for Dynasty, please, please, please do not be overreacting for a player that you're going to want over the next 5 seasons based off of what we've had for 1 week. So we're going to keep this a little light. We're not going to have a ton of structure to this. Let's just talk about some of the main Dynasty storylines that we had from week one. If you don't know what Dynasty is, I mean, be in for a show. We're talking about some long-term expectations for these players over pretty much their entire careers. But of course, if you play Dynasty, if you play in a keeper league, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you drop a like regardless if you want us to continue to pump out Dynasty content through the season. And let's get into it, and let's start it off with one of the storylines that not a lot of people are talking about right now is Javonte Williams had a decent workload this week. I was surprised to see that Javonte Williams, out of these rookie running backs, I mean, between him and Trey Sermon, I'm going to admit that Sunday morning before that Trey Sermon was a healthy scratch, I was telling people to play Sermon over Javonte Williams, given the fact that we were expecting Melvin Gordon to be the starting running back in Denver as well, that you were going to have the 49ers put up a ton of points against the Lions. Yeah, then you have Trey Sermon, the healthy scratch. You have Javonte Williams. While he wasn't the most productive running back in Denver, and on the main channel, I actually called Melvin Gordon to start, and I got incredibly lucky that Melvin Gordon came out, had 11 carries for over 100 yards and a touchdown. Well, Javonte Williams actually had more carries overall. Javonte Williams had 14 carries. And this is surprising for week one in particular. I think this gives us the indication that the Denver Broncos are going to be planning on handing over the keys to the feature down running back role a lot earlier than we initially expected to Javonte Williams. So Javonte, the youngest running back in the NFL draft this past season, we know that he profiles to be a 3-down guy, while Melvin Gordon did get the significant amount of fantasy points that Javonte Williams didn't have access to, given the big play that Melvin Gordon had. Please take advantage. Melvin Gordon's not going to be dropping a 70-yard rushing touchdown every week. If Javonte Williams is already getting this volume, I think Javonte Williams right now is a clear, I don't want to say buy low candidate, but someone that you have to go out there and you have to at least see what the price is. Now let's go over and let's talk about some of the New York Jets, especially the rookies that we have with Zach Wilson, Michael Carter, and Elijah Moore. So Zach Wilson, there's no other way to say it, that he just looked pretty bad in this game. I mean, the offensive line struggled, and I want to remind everyone, Carolina is not some defense that we really need to be worried about. I mean, with Carolina here, this is a team that the defensive side of the ball was a major question mark, where in 2020, they literally spent every single pick in the NFL draft on the defensive side of the ball. And while, yes, that improved their depth, while, yes, that improved their talent overall, Carolina still isn't some extremely strong team with what you're going to have on that front. Whereas I think that we should be expecting the New York Jets to be able to go and take advantage of a matchup like that, where Zach Wilson really did nothing of the sorts. Zach Wilson looked like a bad quarterback. Keep in mind, Jamison Crowder was in a situation where he was not in the game. He was dealing with COVID. But regardless, I think that Zach Wilson shouldn't necessarily take a significant step back without Jamison Crowder. Crowder's some slot wide receiver, not adding much at all. Corey Davis looks great in this game. Michael Carter, not the usage you'd want to see, but this is kind of what you wanted to expect from Michael Carter, where he only got 4 carries compared to Ty Johnson getting 4 and also Tevin Coleman getting 9. Michael Carter really only 2 targets at the same time. If you look at the other running backs in this backfield, though, Ty Johnson wasn't even up there. I mean, Tevin Coleman, we know Tevin Coleman is not going to get any usage in the receiving game. And with Elijah Moore literally had nothing this game. I mean, I think it's more so on the back of what you had with Zach Wilson struggling overall. And I was excited to see Elijah Moore without Jamison Crowder. But I think that really it's going to hinge on, can we get the overall volume of this offense to bump up just slightly? Because if the overall volume isn't going to bump up, it's going to be really hard to see Elijah Moore just take control of this situation, especially with Jamison Crowder coming back. But now going over to some of the other rookie wide receivers, you're going to have these players breaking out way earlier than you expected. I mean, Jaylen Waddle was someone that really took advantage of Will Fuller not being in the game this week. Jaylen Waddle comes out, looks explosive, looks like he does have that chemistry with Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, he does get 6 targets this week, converts them for 4 receptions, 61 receiving yards, and a touchdown at the same time. I mean, Devontae Parker was the wide receiver 1 there with 7 targets, 81 receiving yards. He doesn't come away with the touchdown, but still, I mean, you are looking at Jaylen Waddle with a very impressive start. And what I really like to see with Waddle is this wasn't a wide receiver that was exclusively running routes deep down the field. He was actually working closer to the line of scrimmage as well with some plays. I'm going to be expecting when Will Fuller comes back that Jaylen Waddle's probably only going to be playing on 3 wide receiver sets. I mean, maybe they get some plays out there where they have both Fuller and Waddle on the field. That way they can make sure that they probably have the fastest wide receiver core in the NFL outside of the Kansas City Chiefs with Tyreek Hill and Mecole Hardman, but still very exciting with what we ended up having in Miami. And now over in Cincinnati, everybody freaking out about Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase comes out and he shows why he was the wide receiver 1 in this draft class. And he comes out with 5 receptions, 101 receiving yards, a touchdown off of 7 targets. Now, y'all know I've been on record saying for Dynasty, we want Jamar Chase. For redraft, we want T. Higgins. And T. Higgins came out, and I'll say we kind of got lucky with T. Higgins having a good game where T. Higgins had the 4 receptions, 58 receiving yards, a touchdown to go along with it. But Higgins only had 5 targets in this matchup. Jamar Chase looks like he may already be taking over as the wide receiver 1 in Cincinnati. So it looks like we were wrong on that front. Still think that T. Higgins is a cornerstone dynasty asset, especially if we get into some more shootouts with the Cincinnati Bengals, with Joe Burrow getting healthier, and healthier, as well as the offensive line improving in Cincinnati. So I'm very bullish on this overall passing attack situation. Tyler Boyd did not really do anything this week. And if Jamar Chase and T. Higgins can soak up all the targets here, I think you do have to be really excited. And now our last rookie wide receiver was a part of just a ridiculous game in the Philadelphia Eagles crushing the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, you had Jalen Hurts going out of his way and being, I want to say, the most surprising quarterback of the week, in that Jalen Hurts, not only was he picking up a ridiculous amount of fantasy points, but he was doing a lot of it through the air. I mean, if you're looking at what you actually had from Hurts, you have 264 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, a really good YPA at the same time, really high passer rating. And then down there at wide receiver, it wasn't just Devonta Smith. I mean, Jalen Reagor got some work in there as well. And thank God I almost tweeted out some little snarky comment about Jalen Reagor through the first quarter whenever Devonta Smith was crushing. But thank God we refrained from that, because that would have aged extremely poorly. But here, Reagor does come out with 6 receptions, 49 yards, a touchdown. Devonta Smith right up there. Devonta Smith already showing that he is that alpha wide receiver. I think the concerns with Devonta Smith and his size this past offseason, they were probably a little overblown here. So a main storyline in week 1 is these rookie wide receivers, they came to play right away. I think that this 2021 class, it was sold to be a class that had the talent at the wide receiver position and not much at running back. I think it's already coming true with what we're getting from these top end guys. Now, the depth at wide receiver, not that exciting. I will say Terrace Marshall, Rondale Moore, they each had intriguing plays. Christian Kirk obviously soaked up a ton in what you had there, but still, I mean, I think that you could be excited about what they give you down the stretch, and especially in the long term. I mean, if you think of Arizona right now with how good Kyler Murray looked this week, I mean, just know that Christian Kirk, I believe he's on the last year of his rookie deal, because he was in that same draft class with Cortland Sutton. So if Kirk is out of that scenario, as well as AJ Green only signed to a 1-year deal, and all of a sudden you just have it as DeAndre Hopkins and Rondale Moore as the top 2 wide receivers in this offense. And maybe they bring someone else in, but still, I mean, Rondale Moore would be the bona fide, solidified wide receiver 2 in Arizona. I think you can be very excited about what we had from Rondale Moore with a limited role, knowing how the situation should change going into 2022. And then Terrace Marshall looked like he had I don't want to say a larger role than Robbie Anderson. He out-targeted Robbie Anderson. I think that's not going to continue through the rest of this year. And one thing that I think I maybe over-expected, or I don't know how to phrase it, I was a little too high on both DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson due to the fact that we kind of forgot what Christian McCaffrey does here. Christian McCaffrey just takes away so much of that receiving pie. I mean, McCaffrey is essentially going to be the wide receiver 1 on the Carolina Panthers. At least that's how it looked this past week. So Terrace Marshall, maybe that does limit his ceiling. Obviously, with Marshall, you have the Robbie Anderson extension, which does make things a little cloudier going forward. But Marshall looked good in limited usage. Now, going over to the storyline of the week, the main storyline of the week, you had Trey Sermon and Elijah Mitchell. I mean, Trey Sermon being a healthy scratch, supposedly Elijah Mitchell beating him out for the job. I am going to say, well, yes, in Dynasty, if you can run to your waiver wire, if you can pick up Elijah Mitchell right now, you have to do it in every single league. At the same time, if I was betting $5, if I was betting anything, putting a coin down on a running back to eventually be the running back 1 in San Francisco, that guy would be Trey Sermon, not Elijah Mitchell. I think Elijah Mitchell will always have a role in this team, given the fact that he is that explosive running back that could really complement that feature down guy. I am not viewing Elijah Mitchell as a feature down player. Now, maybe he does have that role over the next 3 to 4 weeks. And of course, you have to pick him up in your fantasy league. That's just without a doubt. But Trey Sermon's still my bet for the long term. I would actually maybe try to use this as a buy low opportunity on Trey Sermon. If you can pick up Elijah Mitchell, then flip Mitchell for Sermon. I think that's a fantastic play. Now, a storyline that we're going to have, a wide receiver that we are avoiding in dynasty drafts given his situation. Jerry Jeudy goes down with a high ankle sprain. Of course, I'm not trying to run victory laps on Jerry Jeudy right now. I'm just trying to say, well, we didn't like his situation for 2021, and that's why we were avoiding him, because he was playing in a situation where he had Teddy Bridgewater as his quarterback. He was competing for targets with Courtland Sutton, KJ Hamler, Noah Fant. We know that's not a recipe for success. But what we're looking at is maybe this is going to give you a nice buy low opportunity on Jerry Jeudy, where we know the talent's there. I was never really betting against Jeudy from a talent perspective. We were betting against him given he had an insane amount of competition in a low passing volume offense. And if now we're looking at it saying you're going to get that window to buy low at the same time, Courtland Sutton, like we already discussed with Christian Kirk, is going to be on the last year of his rookie contract. Nobody's going to be surprised if Courtland Sutton does go to another team. They haven't decided to extend him. And if that's going to be the case, Jerry Jeudy could be in a situation where maybe they get a quarterback upgrade next offseason. Maybe that's when they make the play for Aaron Rodgers. And if he's playing in an offense that just has Noah Fant, KJ Hamler, and Jerry Jeudy, I still think that's going to be a great core of offensive weapons for whoever the quarterback's going to be there, but it will allow a higher overall target share for Jerry Jeudy. So I think that would be very exciting. And yeah, I know this was a shorter video. I'm going to go through and maybe try to find out a way that we can incorporate more things on the Dynasty channel going forward. But the problem is Dynasty is such a long-term game that overreacting on a week-to-week standpoint, it's not going to do us that much good. So we can talk about some storylines from week 1. Maybe I'll hit y'all with some buy low, sell high candidates in the following weeks. But please, I 100% need your opinion. Please go to the comment section. Let me know what videos you want to see from this Dynasty channel through the season, because I mean, it's fun to go and do all the research during the offseason to make sure we're structuring our rosters in a way to win, to also make sure that we are having as much of a chance to really understand these players and what their production should be this upcoming season. That way we can adjust accordingly. So we can make a video every day then when it's pretty much all research. But now that there are different variables coming in and we know Dynasty is a game that's more so long-term, I would rather be focusing on redraft at this moment, as well. As y'all know, I mean, that's where all the views are, is with redraft. We have to continue to grow the flock. So that is going to be where I spend a lot of my time. But please make sure you let me know what y'all want to see on this Dynasty channel, because I love talking Dynasty. I would love to continue to get videos out for y'all. And yeah, that's all I got for you. Have a great day.